Eins, zwei, drei. Hallo, good morgen.
Hello.
Ich heiße Adam. Alles gut? Wie geht's? This is Sandra. Sandra is from Germany, obviously, which is why I'm talking German. Sandra, welcome. Thank you for joining me today to talk about recruiter enablement. Give us a quick introduction to you.
Hello, thanks for having me. I keep this short and simple. I'm Sandra. I'm from Munich. At heart, I'm a little digital nomad, so I work from everywhere, mountain up resorts, or Barcelona was very nice too. And I just founded my own business. It's a talent business, it's called. And it's all about giving workshops and trainings to talent sourcers. So basically enabling them to put into practice what they usually hear about or learn about, in talent sourcing, talent attraction, giving them insights into really how to do stuff, what tools to use too, I think that's also important. I am also a keynote speaker. I'm talking at Sourcing Summit this year, also at SourceCon in April. Just booked my flights to Orlando. And I'm also an author to a book called Talent Titans. And I wrote this with my colleague Ben because what we always found was that we have so many tips and tricks, like really practical advice. But we also wanted to share that, enabling others to do a better talent sourcing and organizing themselves in a better way. Yeah, that's what I do.
Wonderful. Where did you work from in the Alps?
Oh, basically Austria, because there is so much more snow than in Bavaria.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about recruiter enablement. What is that to you? And tell us about anything that you've done in this area.
Yeah. I think I can take one example specifically, because it really relates very well with Poetry HR. So I'm working at a scale up, right? And scale ups grow super, super fast, and there are so many recruiters, but in like hot phases, there's also RPOs coming in, let's say 30 to 50 people all at once, and you have to educate them about your culture, about how you do your processes, like basically everything. And in regards to campaigning, really doing the outreach, proactively contacting candidates online, specifically LinkedIn, of course, you want to streamline the process, or standardize also the process, how you reach out to people, because you want them to sound like your company, right? And then you have like suddenly so many people coming in, and everybody kind of has the same problems, like what template do we use? My candidates in Germany don't reply. Are they just weirdos, or what am I doing wrong? Is there a best practice how we do it there? What benefits do we offer in this or that region, or to what group, really? Maybe diversity or inclusive benefits. What is our culture about, our EVP? How's the look and feel? What's the tone? Especially in Germany, are you more formal addressing people, or are you more casual? There's tons of questions. And what I did was design a so-called campaign library, with all these, information. What tools do we use? Best practice examples to it, guidelines, lists, but also, just general instructions and templates, right? And I built this with you just plain Google site, And that was a lot of work, because the first thing I really had to do is go through the whole G drive and see, what we really have in store there. And what I found is that we have the same templates with a minor twist, maybe in 1,000 different places, and some people would have access to some places, some might have access to other places, but there was no common ground, and if you want to know how a great campaign works, or great outreach message worked, it was really hard to display that cross teams, right? So the engineering team did a great outreach, while the sales team maybe did another one, but the communication across teams there wasn't maybe that great. So I think building such a site really helps in enabling recruiters and sources to collaborate in a better way, and also to standardize this. And this is how I came across Poetry HR, where I'm like, dude, this is actually what I sort of built in a different way, less advanced. But if I had known that there's something like that out there, I would have instantly worked with this,
Well, this is why we built Poetry, and it because we found quite a lot of people. I did 200 hours of focus groups last year, and I found a lot of people like you who had realized that this is an issue and had gone to create some sort of a version of an enablement program or an enablement site or something like that. Um, I don't think that recruiters are given what they need to do their jobs effectively. And what you've just said is that like different teams are not always collaborating. And then also when you're in a scenario where you're using an RPO, there's different people coming in and out the team. They all need to kind of really quickly understand all the
Exactly.
FAQs and how to represent the brand and all that type of thing. Did you notice? I mean, there's differences across countries as well. I know the scale up you were with had people in different countries. What were the challenges associated with that?
So I think the problem really was that for some functions we would have the same recruiter across regions, and it's sometimes really hard to know what works for one culture and what doesn't work for another one, right? And part of my job then was to write guidelines, and culture guidelines, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. What's the focus for this region? What's another focus for another region? And I had and it really starts with the tonality, the use of emojis. How many can you use? For Americans maybe a bit more. With Germans, beware. They think it's spam. And when Germans think it's spam, they will instantly either delete it or fear that they will break the internet. Really, they're just so paranoid of spam. Anyways, but those you're so right in saying you need to give the recruiters what they need for doing their job, and I found they either don't have the access or not even the knowledge that something exists already, right? And the time you spent on gathering all this information was huge. If each individual was to do it, you would have, no time for recruiting anymore. And that was seriously the pitfall of it. And people were actually surprised, that we had already all these resources and ideas and best practices, but nobody really knew about it. And educating the people about this was the main part, probably, of this whole project.
I mean, from our research, a typical recruiter spends at least 7 minutes a day trying to find the information they need to complete their next task. And I think it could well be a lot more than that, but we found at least 7 minutes. So we've
It's
been thinking
definitely
along that.
I can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah, maybe. Sandra, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today and for giving us some insight into what you did. And do note that Sandra was using Google Sites for this. You could use SharePoint. You could use Notion. There are lots of things there that your team may well have access to, enterprise software that your company has already subscribed to. So you don't have to buy Poetry to do this. There's other ways of doing it. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming and joining me, and looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.